New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment. Inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello. It is Wednesday here in the United States of America. And
in case you were in another United States that we're not aware of.
Well, every day is a new day.
That's true. It could be the United, who knows what.
We're not only broadcasting to the United States, we broadcast to so many countries.
Internationally.
In fact, my show tomorrow is an international show, with my co-hostess being in Australia.
That's true.
So don't go talking to me like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So, but you're here today on my not international show because we're sitting in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's a sunny day.
Sunny, warm, bright, happening day.
And this is Rockin the Love. And I'm Robyn Rice Olmstead.
And I'm Gil William Olmstead, and we are happy to be with you and having a little fun.
Oh, I'm ready for a little fun, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Whew.
Somehow it's 1:00 here, and it feels like we've already had a full day.
And we have a full day to go.
We haven't really started.
There's too much happening. Anyway, so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are a married couple, and what we do is we talk about relationship and how relationship is everywhere. It's not just husband, wife, male, female, male, whatever, all of the different ways, but just we're in relationship to everything in our life, whether that's our relationship in our work environment or our relationship with the lady at the grocery store checkout stand, or, it's all about being in relationship. And what do you bring to that relationship?
And we each bring something unique. And of course, it all starts with our relationship to us, ourselves. So it's a big topic. And so that allows us to actually explore a lot of different things. And so we're always open to hearing your feedback, comments, questions, interests, all that good stuff via our comments, via email. Let us know what you're thinking. We're always happy to incorporate our viewers into our show. So there you go.
So our topic today is the wonder of one.
The wonder of one.
With a capital O.
Okay. I guess in today's situation, you need to clarify that it's not all about the oneing. It's about one. Got it. Okay.
I didn't get it, but
the W-O-N, oneing.
Oh. Because you were trying to reach back to a Charlie joke?
No.
Oh.
Currently, we have an issue with always wanting to win, in case you haven't noticed.
Okay, but we're not talking politics today, at least not yet. We're going to try to stay away from that and talk about the wonder of one, which is really a show. I think we should tell them a little bit about it.
Okay, go ahead.
You go ahead.
I'm not sure I can.
We're going to explore different topics that we've learned from each other.
Yes. Okay.
I don't know why that was so hard.
Well, it was the one of the several things we talked about talking about, and in that moment, I couldn't recall what the wonder of one meant.
Right.
But now I get it. It's here again. It's been reignited in my head. What do we get from one another? What do we learn? What have we?
Okay.
Where have we been able to grow and come to by being in relationship?
Yeah. And we want to say hello to everybody out there. I know that we don't always see who you are, but we know you're out there because you tell us later. So we only see certain platforms. So don't think that we're not acknowledging you. It's just you don't always show up here. So if you're out there, Alvin and Louise and all the great people that tell us all the time, Grace, you're listening. Thank you for being there.
Say hello.
Hello. Okay, so before we talk about that, we're going to talk about the good news.
The good news? Go right to the good news. Do you want to talk about the week at all and what's going on?
Go ahead.
Well, we have an American Pope. That's a fascinating little bit of what's happened this week, isn't it?
Yeah.
I find that to be quite interesting, particularly since it's the first time. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds for the Catholic Church and Catholic religion with that kind of a shift? Also, he's only been a cardinal for a couple of years, so he's not the entrenched, perhaps, as some of the others. So there you go. Very interesting. And then, of course, the myriad of craziness happening everywhere else. That in our government, which is, just is what it is. And we just keep moving forward. So I think personally in our week, we've just been busy doing a lot of things.
Yeah, that's the Pope thing. What I thought was interesting about the Pope, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I thought it was interesting how upset Americans got that he didn't speak English
At his first sermon. Yeah, his first talk.
I think we are so freaking entitled. I'm like, why? He's standing in Italy. Why does he need to speak English?
And wait, let me clarify. Didn't he speak in 3 languages
Two
that day? 2 or 3? So, come on. He attempts to reach out across the aisle, if you will. And we go, oh, but you didn't make everybody be like us.
Right.
They had to listen in English.
Yeah, I just think I just think we're so entitled, and that's why when I do workshops and things like that, I don't mind, or when I pray in Spanish, I don't mind if people have to wait to hear what it is. We're so used to hearing it first.
Yeah.
To knowing what's happening. It's like, slow down, just be in the moment, be in the vibe of it. That's just me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Or am I crazy? I don't know. And maybe it's because we have a government right now that is not acting like any other government ever has. And so it's like everybody expects like different things, and that they can just snap their fingers, and it's like they watched Bewitched too much.
Yeah.
Like, this is gone. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
No, I think you're right. It's got to do with the basic me attitude, and the basic. I think entitled is a good word. It's what is it called? American exceptionalism. We're special, and the reality is, yeah, we're special. Everybody's special. Mm-hmm. So what? You're no more special than anyone else.
Well, that's the thing. It's like and I guess I don't know. I grew up thinking we were a good country. I don't know what I was thinking sometimes now as we, go backwards, but I mean, I grew up with that enforced in me, and just knowing our potential and all those things. But now it's just like, what the heck?
Yeah, I traveled to Europe and the USSR and stuff when in the late '70s, and I got a dose in that moment of a sense of what was so special about America through that experience. But I think what's terrifying to me is that I'm literally seeing some of the things we talked about and saw on the trip um, in the other places that felt so out of place are the kinds of things we're doing.
Right.
So it's like, wait. Um,
Yeah, and it's I get it. It may have always been like this, and we just didn't get the full. Somebody else did PR better or covered it up better. Or, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's just it's I don't know. It's such a shame. I don't know if I was in school right now learning about our country, like how I would hold that space.
well, you wouldn't have a problem because they won't tell you anything that's out of the official narrative. I mean, they won't even tell you the things that we've been telling each other for years. The things that you and I learned, you're not going to learn now if you're in school because that's not okay to teach that. We don't want kids to know where we made huge mistakes. We don't want kids to know how we had to grow through pain. We want them to just see everything as, we saw the good and we made it happen. Okay, and we annihilated an entire race of people across the country. Well, we don't need to talk about that. That's not important. In fact, don't even mention it because that just brings up questions. I think that's an interesting perspective to have, and I think it goes to that exceptionalism concept of, hey, we're so great, we just speak English and we'll run over you if you don't. And it comes from that very old attitude, and part of it's because that's how we were founded, and there's some aspect of that exists in our DNA.
Well,
as a
yeah,
country.
and there's some aspects of that exists in everyone's DNA. So that everybody was fighting for survival at some point, and then there's not to us and them, but not to separate us. But then there's also a great slew of people who are teachable and learning and opening and loving and knowing that love will prevail, and as cheesy as that sounds, I mean, it is pretty much what we got.
But I would assert that is in fact exactly why those who are in power are attempting to not allow some of that stuff to be taught or shown easily, because people are willing and able to receive it with empathy and compassion and create a worldview that is much wider, which wouldn't serve the purposes of the mega rich in America. Sorry, mega rich, apologize. But there you go.
However, if you send a donation, we will gratefully accept it, because we know that we are all one, and we accept all of your goodness and all of our goodness being married together. So feel free to donate to newthoughtmedia.org. All right, I'm ready for good news now.
You are? All right.
I don't know if I have any, but I'm ready for it. So why don't you start?
Well, I found something really fascinating that in the studies and tests done between 2020 and 2023, that the amount of ice in Antarctica has actually increased by some major huge amount, which is counterintuitive to the fact that those years were also the highest temperature ever recorded around the world. However, there was also massive amounts of precipitation, apparently, which contributed to that. But it was enough ice that it would actually change the trend of ocean rise. That would actually lower the ocean level by 0.3 millimeters a year. So
Wow.
really interesting that, I don't know how much the earth can heal itself, if you will, just like our bodies do. That makes sense that it could. So who knows how much of this stuff that's going on, the earth is totally able to work with, if you will.
Come on. God just be God. I mean, you can't. It just, you think, as logical as it is, it's like, or illogical as it's like something takes over. That something that we pretend to have no name for, that we say is everything, everywhere, all the time.
Right.
It's like you can't. It defies logic.
That's true. Which in my case is really annoying.
Which generally sends you on a tizzy.
I want it to be logical.
Yeah.
But I do find that quite interesting. And, and of course, it begs the question of, what are we actually seeing? What is this thing we're calling global warming? What effect is it having? Where is it coming from and why? That's all, we have the people that absolutely deny it's even possible. And yet we have all these things happening. We go, well, look at that. We have bigger storms. We have more fires. We have all these things. And then we also have more ice, which goes completely against the thoughts of what global warming would be doing in general. So who knows? I think it's just it's a good news story in the sense that it just goes to prove again, we don't know everything. And part of it is we have to trust the process. We have to do what we can and what we see as ours to do and let the rest go.
Well, and when you think about things like you're saying, with global warming and the blah 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 blah, but we also have a whole slew of people who are like, no, we can't let this happen, and are thinking, no, we can't let this happen, and are thinking, whether they're thinking positive, they're doing what they need to do, they're limiting whatever use of whatever that is warming this to do that and if everybody's doing their little tiny part, why shouldn't it be working?
Well, I agree with that, but I just mean it doesn't quite match up with the sense that in addition to the ice increasing, those were also the highest years recorded on the earth. So what is global warming? If the globe is warming up, how is that working? Anyway, just very interesting. So that's my good news, that there is hope everywhere you look. There's possibility everywhere you look, even when we don't understand it or when it doesn't make sense to us. So there you go.
Well, I'm going to tell you the good news story that I would have had, because we actually have work being done on our windows and the light is shining through and I can't see where my good news story is. So, but it's sort of interesting and goes along with what you were saying in some ways, that because I read 3 different stories that I thought about talking about, and all of them were about one was about an eagle in Mexico that they thought was extinct, the type of eagle, and it was totally different looking eagle. I'd never seen anything like it. It was like white and black and spots and things, and that was one. And then there was 2 in the sea creatures that were also extinct, and one was totally neon and beautiful and blah 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 blah. But they found out that none of these are extinct, that they have come back, or that they have come back. They were and they came back. And so I just, when you match it up just to the timing period of everything everywhere, it's kind of interesting, that it's not, we don't appear as doomed as we did.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the question becomes, so how much of that is because of many of the changes that we've made. And we have been more careful about habitat destruction. And we have been more careful about, even the countries where they're not nearly as conscious or regulated as the United States have been, they're still not as unconscious as they once were. I mean, as a world, I believe we've become much more conscious of being pollution aware, and not just filling up lakes and rivers and that kinds of things. But the other part that I think is really fascinating about it is where do these animals hide? Where are they hanging out? Is it really that somehow spontaneously they came back? Or is it, there have been some hanging out and nobody saw them? Maybe they intentionally went, nope, we're not going to let ourselves be seen because these people are out to get us. I don't know. It's just so fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's all, and then if we go to the theory that it's all happening at the same time,
yeah,
then who knows where they are or who they're hanging out with.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to that theory, then, we could end up on the beach with some little raptors.
I don't know, but Wayne's here. I'm sure Wayne knows, and so we're okay today.
All right,
All
good.
right, we've got our official knower from Canada. So we're going to take a break, and we are going to come back for some old-fashioned hippie hugs and some good love, and find out what we've learned from who. Ooh. All right, so we'll see you right back here on New Thought Media in just a minute.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello, we are back at Rockin the Love, and so glad that you've joined us. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil. And we are here with Rockin the Love, because that's what we do every Wednesday. We rock the love right here on New Thought Media Network with you. So thanks for joining us. And we look forward to sharing with you this afternoon, or wherever the heck you are, whatever time it is. Okay, something to one. How do we say it the way we said it?
The wonder of one.
The wonder of one. There it is. The wonder of one. Oh, yeah, that kind of goes along with another good news story I saw today. But anyway.
I know, it's a good title. It could have been used for many things.
Yes.
You have your stuff on top of my notes.
I do?
You do.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. All right. So
there we go. We fixed that problem. Whew.
So this is a show where we are going to talk about what we've learned from each other. Right?
What have we learned from each other? Which really means for me, to generalize it, it means what have we learned from those we're in relationship with? You know, whatever those relationships have been, what have we learned being in relationship? And, I think sometimes we have the opportunity to learn things and we think, I do not want to learn about that. That is not fun. I kind of had that talk with somebody yesterday about, you know what, I realized this is what's up for me. And there's something I need to get from this, and there's something going on that felt pretty hard. And I think that's really true in relationship too, that sometimes someone or something in a relationship can be that space of the hard teacher, if you will, and the one that really shows up asking us to really evaluate.
All right. So do you have like things you learned from me?
I have things I learned from you.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna have to play with that. So yeah, I think our partners are our greatest teachers, as are our parents and probably anybody we have to live with, right?
Right.
So what do you think is the number one thing you've learned from me?
I think to be patient. You're incredibly patient with things overall. Not some things, maybe not so much, but in general, you're very patient about allowing things to happen, about trusting things and how it was going to work out, about allowing people space to be who they are. In general, you're very, very patient. I mean, I watch you with people on the phone. I watch you with all these things, and you are incredibly gracious. So that's something I'm always learning from is, how do you do that? How do I do that? How can I be like that? I think that's kind of a really interesting one.
Yeah. You want to know how?
How?
I think the key to all of that, I mean, not that I think about it when I'm doing it, but especially in your term, in your case, is not thinking about it. Is really you're really staying in the moment, and again, we've had the conversation numerous times. You're trying to figure it out and trying to fix it and trying to figure out how they can't get there again. And, and it's like all bets are off. You just have to stay in the moment and be there and listen. I think. I don't know. Because it wasn't my lesson. I mean, but you know what I mean? I really don't know. I don't necessarily feel patient all the time when you say those things.
Well, no. I mean, I know sometimes you don't feel it. I know sometimes you may comment about it somewhere, but overall, in the situation, you're exhibiting a massive amount of patience.
Thanks.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I think the thing I've learned from you most about relationship, and I know that we hear this all the time, you can't change anybody. Don't try to change anybody. You can't, you're not going to change a person. And I think what I really learned from you is like the way that you need your space. And I hate it. I do. I hate it. I mean, this is 24 years in, guys. I don't like it because it's, for me, it's an immediate rejection of me, and nobody's taking care of me in the moment. And why do I have to understand and take care of him and let him go have space? What a big baby that he needs space now. It is. It's really.
Wow, this is really builds me up.
No, but I think that it's a no. See, but that's the thing. If you always go back to you, that'll be a challenge for you.
That's the only one of us who's here.
And that will be true at some point in time. But I mean, but to not understand that, in that moment too, sometimes I have needs. Generally, always. But anyway. But I mean, but really understanding that, like, okay, I mean, and getting to a place where I could believe you and trust you, that if you walked away, you were walking back, or that you loved me even though you were walking away, because that's not what that said to me. Walking away is goodbye. Turning your back, I don't care if you're going for a glass of water. It to me is like, if you can't stay and finish this through, then this isn't happening. And Gil thought I was crazy because like we'd have these situations that weren't terribly bad situations. I don't know what they were, and he'd turn around to go get his glass of water and be like, "So do you want a divorce?" He's like, "What?"
I'm thirsty. You've been making me talk a lot. My mouth is dry.
Yeah. And but that was a big growing point to learn, to really understand someone else's style of communication and not really trying to get him to change it. Just trying to understand that this is how it is. This is what happens. This is what he does. Because there wasn't a whole lot of changing it going on.
No. There's, it is really interesting how there's certainly not a lot of change that happens where we think we want to push for change with another person. It has to happen from the inside out. And so it's never really going to happen. If I want it to happen in you, then it's not really going to happen that way anyway. So, what we get to see is how we begin to morph and change on our own from being in relationship. I mean, I hear you, and I have to say that I think part of that was your learning that, like I said, when somebody does something, it doesn't mean whatever the story is you have about it necessarily. It doesn't mean they're leaving. It doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean they don't care. It doesn't mean all those things. And I think that's some of the hardest stuff to do in a relationship, is to realize, oh, they're not really saying anything. They're just whatever. When you get upset because we're going to be late, and I don't know how I could have gotten anything done any quicker. I have to readjust my thing to know, that's just what it is. And I keep I keep trying to be accommodating as best I can, but I can't make it different. I can't make you not be sensitive about being late, because that's just how it is.
Okay. Well, that's a different show. Let's
Oh,
honor.
no, that's this show, because I
No.
just brought it up. How did we get to a different show?
No, we're gonna honor what is on this show, and then we can talk about can one change it? Because I think change is always happening, and I think if one really wants to, they can. And just so you know, our magnificent producer Michael Mingus is back there doing all kinds of magical things, and I just have to let you know that we can't see any comments. So if there's anything we need to know, it's on you to get it up there. So just letting you know that. All right.
So,
What else?
What else have you learned? What have I learned from you? I think I've also learned there's a type of commitment that you have to stuff, that you're willing to push through things and make it happen. It's it's a real commitment. When you say you're going to do something, you really do it, and you work hard at it, and it challenges me to show up in the same way quite often.
That's it.
No, I was reading on the screen. So yeah, it's this real commitment to whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is, and you will just show up and do it, whatever, because you are Robyn Rice and you're there, so therefore you will do, and you will be whatever somebody needs, and you will stay after and do this, or you will go do that, or whatever it is, and keep making it happen. And I think that's a very interesting, it's a very giving place to come from. I don't know that it always serves you, but
Right.
but the commitment is you can be counted on, and it challenges me to be the same way. I mean, to be able to do that. Yeah, it also challenged me to think about what do I say yes to and all of that. But if I said yes, then I better figure out how to do it, kind of thing. So that's one of the things. What about you?
I'm still processing that one a little bit. Thanks. I think you're kind of that way too. I think that. I mean, I think you're a lot that way. I think what takes me out of like fully recognizing you as a rock star there is just that sometimes it's so complicated. There's so much going on, and how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? It kind of just takes away from the initial, not the goodness of it, but you know what I mean, the initial feeling, vibration. But thanks. Yeah. Thanks. I like that about me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other thing I've learned from you, or I don't know that I've learned it from you as much as in this relationship, is the importance of snacks.
Snacks
And food, and I think that's really important in relationships, because we're all pretty good at starting some kind of mishiga, some kind of craziness, some kind of fight, some kind of argument, some kind of distraction, and if you know that you're hungry when it all starts, it's 10 times worse.
Okay, so it's the importance of of taking care of our sustenance needs, our basic sustenance needs.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if we get overwhelmed or we get over focused on what we're quote doing, and we push that aside, we actually end up losing time and effort because then we get frustrated, etc.
Right.
Yeah, and you learn that from me because I turn into a Mr. Jekyll or Hyde or whichever one it is.
Well, I think you ate better before me, or different too. More regularly, and so it becomes apparent that when you don't have food, you are a different person, and you can go without food, but like really making sure you're taking care of it. And I'm sure it's that way for everybody. I don't think I have the same thing that happens, and at some point it must happen, so it's like just knowing your own boundaries and really being able to take care. Or for example, like if it was a situation with me, would I be able to say, well, I really have to go after 20 minutes, I have a meeting, and I'd be like, okay, then I'd be late to the next meeting, you know what I mean? So I think, I don't know. I think it's important to have snacks.
Snacks. It's another way we take care of ourselves.
Yeah. Well, we're honoring ourselves. We're honoring the divine in us. We're saying, don't let me go into, battle with you. Not prepared, not even battle, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Because in those moments, it's all about the love anyway. And so how fully can we love ourselves? Okay, what do you got? What else?
I was just thinking about how I think I've learned the importance of allowing you to have whatever you have going on, go on. Allowing you to be angry, allowing you to be happy, allowing you to be whatever it is at certain times, because that's just what is, and there's no reason to fight it. There's no reason to be frustrated with it. There's no reason to be anything. But that if I try to fight it, or I try to mold myself to fit it, or whatever it is, then what happens is we end up in a much worse place. And so I'm very clear that we have to work together, and that I have to let things go. I just have to be like, okay, that's what it is, and keep going. Because when I do that and I give you the space to do whatever, usually it shifts. Or I go ahead and take the space I need to take care of me, it shifts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Huh. Huh.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that yeah. I mean, I'm thinking about I was thinking about the ability to shift for change, and that's kind of what you've done. I mean, on that one, because it's not that you don't want to know or need to know, but it's that you're just able to be patient and allow it to come through. I mean, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I can not have to know in the moment. I can just be like, oh, okay. Eventually I'll understand, and if there's something I need to do or be or whatever, I can work on that. But right now, I just need to allow this to be happening, because that's what is. And if you're frustrated or whatever, then I let you be frustrated, because that's what's happening. And and that goes to that idea of not taking things personally, which I'm not all that good at, but being in relationship has certainly pushed me in that direction to become better at that.
It's interesting. I think that me too. And like I was standing somewhere the other day, maybe at a conference. I don't know. I don't think so. But somewhere I was talking to old friends that had known me through different things. And they were so, I don't know. This is just, this just came to me as an analogy. It's like, I think giving that space gives a new space for things to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that we don't even know. It's not like, okay, let me go into it like this, you know, but it's being able to not see what's coming and know it's going to be worth it and better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And along with that, I would say the other thing that with you and me that I know, and we don't do it enough, is that at the end of the day, y'all, love and laughter is the best medicine. Oh my God. Laughter. If we can laugh at ourselves in the midst of this, you know, and find that commonality point, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if we can't laugh, and if we don't laugh, then we don't release any of that energy, and we keep ourselves tied up in whatever this thought pattern is. I think often when we laugh, we're able to see beyond whatever the thought is that we're holding. We're able to see the story from a totally different angle and go, oh, there could be a whole different story here, when we're able to see the humor in it, you know? And that allows us to go, oh, well, then I don't have to take my story so darn seriously, because who knows if that's really what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the truth is, I learn from you all the time. You know, we learn from each other. It's just a question of how do we implement it, and, you know, can it be? And I guess the question for everybody out there too is, can you learn from your partner? Because there are times and places and things that we could not learn from each other at different times in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, he is not teaching me about that when he blah, 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 blah. You know, and so what can we let go of? And I think that the more we can let go of on the journey, the more room we have to carry the love and the insights and the revelations along with us.
Yeah, I think you're right.
My gosh, I think he's got it. He thinks I'm right. All right, well, that's it today. So take a minute, you know, and think about your partners, your loved ones, your siblings, your parents, whomever, you know, and what's the gift you've gotten from them? What have you learned?
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. What's the gift that you've received? Because that gift, I'm gonna suggest that all those things we have, quote, learned from one another have given us better opportunities to be in whatever other relationships we're in, because suddenly we have a better understanding, we have better understanding of ourselves, we have more tolerance, we have whatever it takes. So that's the shift. So yeah, I would say then it gives us a chance to be in gratitude, even if something didn't feel great. Not that would ever happen.
Yeah, so feel great, be in gratitude, thank your loved ones, and keep rocking the love, because what else can we do? And we'll see you here next week
On New Thought Media Network. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.